Right. So, welcome everybody, and thank you so much for coming. I know many of you have come to support me, and I'm extremely grateful for that. Um, I've called this presentation Becoming the You Were Born to Become, Emotional Freedom Through Conscious Thought. My intention is to deliver something to you today that will provide value and tangible value unconditionally, whether you take it any further or not. Some of the benefits you can expect from the simple mind energy techniques that I'll teach you with practice is reduced anxiety and fear. So removal of blockages, removal of any negative that is causing lack of clarity of thought. So harmonization of thought, clearer thought, and more positive decision making. Decision making is so important in life. Yes, no, up, down, left, right. You can expect improved relationships with people and indeed everything that comes into your life. You can expect to have a greater ability to deal with what life throws at you, because it does. It's continually throwing stuff at you. And I think equally you can expect to attract more positive into your life. So you'll need a pen and a paper, because what we're going to do is if you could find a pen and paper now, that would be great. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you. Firstly, I'm going to explain the science behind why it happens, what causes majority of anxieties and fears and blockages. We're then going to look at some solutions, some very simple mind techniques for addressing those negative associations to memories. And we're actually going to then practice them live. So what I'd like you to do is to make a list of 2 or 3 things, triggers that cause you anxiety. So things, for example, try and keep it simple to start with. For example, you've had a conversation with your boss at work that has left you with that sort of overtone of anxiety or fear or something along those lines. I can't actually see you at the moment. Can I? That's better. I can see the audience now. I couldn't see the audience then. Yeah. So yeah, if you could just make a list of a couple of things, then what we'll do is we'll actually practice whichever of the simple mind techniques resonates with you the most towards the end. Yeah, so it'd be great if you could all set your intentions for the webinar and what you would like to get from it. Again, as I said, my intention is to deliver some information, some knowledge to you that will be sincerely and tangibly of benefit. And also, yeah, feel free to ask any questions at any point, because I'm acutely aware that if you don't understand something, it's usually because of the way it's being explained. So feel free to ask any questions at any point. So yeah, what we normally do in this circumstance is to go around the group and do a sort of brief introduction of everyone. So I'm thinking I'm going to take my screen off share now so we can see each other. So can everyone see each other now?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So what I'll do is I'll just choose someone at random, and then if we if well, actually, if does somebody have a burning desire to introduce themselves, and then we'll just go around the room relative to who's on my screen.
What do you want us to cover, John? Just I don't know what to say. I'm happy to introduce myself.
Oh, fantastic! I mean, okay, so who you are and where you're from, and where you are on your spiritual path, and why you chose to join the seminar. And I know you have particularly to help me out because you're already on my course.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Well, yeah, hi everyone. Good to meet you all. I'm Elliot Tinton. I live in Shoreham by Sea on the south coast. Why am I here? Well, partly to help John out, maybe, but hopefully to help myself and learn a few different things and give myself a bit more motivation to spend a bit more time practicing them, I think. All too keen to read different things for a magic bullet that cures everything, but realize it's sort of hard work. So um, I'm, I don't know what else to say really. I think probably part of one of the things I'd like to get better at is speaking in front of people I don't know. So this will probably do me some good. But
Wow,
anyway,
we'd have never noticed. We'd have never noticed.
so yeah, anyway, good to meet you all.
No, thanks, Elliot. Appreciate it. Terry, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, thank you very much, John. Yes, my name's Terry Linden Fermor. I'm from Devizes in Wiltshire. And I saw this advertised by a friend of mine, Janine, and I was just curious, I suppose. I've been on um, a spiritual journey for, I don't know, maybe years in many respects, but it sort of ebbs and flows. But I think it's more in flow now than it ever before. Over the last few years, I suppose that's been booted into more significance, I guess. And yeah, I think I would just like to be more able to be more sure of myself when I'm particularly with more interpersonal relationships, I suppose. So that's where I would like to sort of gain, perhaps a better insight, maybe from things in my past, where behavioral patterns that I've fallen into, negative behavioral patterns that I've fallen into, victimhood and things like that. So
Uh,
that's where I would like to sort of
Absolutely,
improve.
Terry. That's music to my ears. I think, what we're going to cover now will address a lot of that with practice. And I mean, as Elliot said, there are rarely sort of a magic bullet. You actually have to do some work, unless you're Alicia or Lisa, of course. Um, so thank you, Terry. Well, I'm looking forward to cracking on. Janine's actually here. Janine, thank you so much for um, putting a few people in touch with me. Appreciate it. You're muted at the moment. Do you want to just tell us a bit about who you are?
Yeah, thanks, John. Sorry, I'm late. Everything suddenly had to reboot all at the same time.
Always.
Update and reboot. Um, yeah, so I'm curious. I'd love to know more about what it is that you're bringing forward and find ways in which I can apply it. I'm always looking for new conscious technology, technology of consciousness, and finding ways to live more of my natural cosmic self and let go of the old programming that is not who I am. So
Well, I'm honored because I know you, Janine, and I know you're already very much aware and conscious of much of what I'll be working with. So I'll be very interested to get your opinion on what it is I'm presenting. That would be really very valuable. Ruth, do you wanna introduce yourself?
Yeah, I come via Janine as well.
Yeah.
Um, Ruth Barrington from Bath. When I read the blurb, I had a sense that it was a good idea to join, and anything that kind of guides me towards being more conscious in my awareness, that's always good. So any kind of techniques or anything that I can practice. And also you're suggesting that we did introductions and talking about causes of anxiety. Well, doing introductions is one of those causes of anxiety. So there we are. That's one on my list.
I can so relate to that. I can so relate to that, Ruth. I spent my life petrified.
Yeah.
Public speaking.
Yeah.
Petrified. And I couldn't work it out because I love the sound of my own voice. What, you know,
Yeah.
so yes,
I know. I find it really bizarre because most of my life I've been in teaching and working with adults in teaching. And if I'm asked to introduce myself, I have to even write my name down and everything.
Wow.
Anyway,
Wow.
it gave me one of the 4 things causing anxiety. So I've only got a couple more to find now.
Yes, no, for me, it's been a very challenging one. And I've had tremendous support from a lot of people, but it's it's certainly something which I now think I've overcome. But part of me realizes that actually a bit of nerves is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the reasons that I got so nervous previously was just because I'm so passionate about what I'm wanting to display.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So, you know, part of losing that sort of necessity for perfection helped tremendously. Yeah. But yeah, thank you, Ruth.
Okay.
Yeah, Alicia.
Yeah, I'm here to support Jonathan and just to find out what you're doing. I know you're up there in Scotland and just want to find out what you're putting together up there. So yeah, it's exciting because you've worked so hard on it and you've come this far with it. So yeah.
No, thank you, Alicia. But tell us a bit. Come on, tell us. What do you do? What do you do?
Well, for quite a few years, yeah, as a practitioner, herbalist, and then went into the healing frequency work and trauma release, that type of thing, coaching. So it's supporting anybody through their journey.
Yeah, there's not a lot Alicia hasn't done, and I think from my perspective, what I am presenting to you today and in the course is almost a foundation level to what Alicia and Lisa were able to do for you. So really, really honored to have you here, Alicia, and appreciate your support. Thank you.
No, pleasure.
Lisa.
Everybody, I am also one of those ones that has anxiety when I'm talking. So, yeah, but I'm trying to get over that because I've got an important healing ability that I'm trying to, get out the word to share with people. But I'm here to support John right now, and we're kind of coaching each other, I would say. Through some of the things that we're trying to work on. We're accountability partners. Is kind of how I would describe it. And yeah, so I'm all about learning new things to help me out. I'm always about trying to work on my thoughts and my beliefs, and where I'm coming from, who I am spiritually. So yeah, and I really think that John's had hands-on experience in all that he's teaching, and what he stands for. And so I think that he's somebody that we can, you know, trust in what he's saying. So yeah, I'm here for you, John.
Thank you, Lisa. And it's been such a pleasure working with you. Lisa and I got together about a year or so ago, maybe longer, through the Centre of Health and Wellness of Earth. And Lisa's encouraged me to take forward my understanding of biogeometry, which has really helped me to understand subtle energy and the other planes of existence in terms of my understanding of everything that I'm doing. So, and a whole bunch more. So thank you, Lisa. Okay, so do we have I left anyone out? Don't think so.
Colin.
Did I leave you out, Colin? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. It's good. But so Colin.
Okay, I was muted.
And we got video. Great to
Colin,
see.
yes, I'm on my laptop video. Something's gone wrong with everything else, but that's what we're getting at the moment. Yeah, I live in Castle Carey in Somerset. I've been on my conscious spiritual journey for about 30 years. Before that, unconscious spiritual journey. And I now work with energy mainly. I'm a dowser. I like playing with energy, manipulating it in the metaphysical, making changes to whatever is appropriate. I am here because Janine suggested that you were giving this masterclass, and I'm always interested to learn. I spend my life learning, basically, and putting it all together, and using what I have already in my tool bag and finding other ways which might suit.
Well, I aspire to that greatness, Colin. Really, I do. I think, you can never stop learning, and it's always an opportunity for learning. So yeah, respect that. Thank you, and thank you for coming. Right. Okay. So I'll just share my screen again, and we can. Yeah, no, so yeah, you guys have introduced yourself. I think I better introduce myself. I'll do a brief introduction. Essentially, what we're going to cover today are the causes of sort of anxiety, fears, blockages. I'll also introduce you to what I describe as a fundamental flaw in human psychology, which is the foundation of why we experience this phenomena, why we experience the blockages and unnecessary and redundant anxieties and fears. I'll talk a little bit about what gave me the determination and why I wrote my book, what I wrote it for, because my course is essentially based on everything that I wrote in my book. We're then going to get on to the solutions, and I'll introduce you to a few very simple mind techniques which you'll be able to practice immediately. So we're going to actually go back to your list and have a look at that and see which of the techniques resonates with you the most, and we're gonna demonstrate it in real time. You'll see the tremendous power of the techniques. So yeah, I'm John Tuck. This is me, little chap here. I think it was like a couple of months after a life-changing accident that I had at the age of 8. I essentially fell off my push bike and hit my head on the curb. I actually hit my head on the left-hand side. What happened was my brain bounced across my head and caused a large blood clot on the right-hand side, which was operated on and removed. I was in a coma for 2 weeks. I was given a 30% chance of not becoming a cabbage, which was acceptable terminology back then. I was told that I'd be in a wheelchair by the age of 30. Now, because I actually damaged the left-hand side of my brain, I was affected on the right-hand side of my body. So when I came around from the coma, I was completely paralyzed on my right side, almost like a stroke victim. And because I was still growing at that age, I experienced a length deficiency in the right side. So I had multiple operations from about the age of 14 to the age of 30. But all that aside, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. You know, it gave me tremendous determination and tremendous, I mean, if nothing else, to prove the doctors wrong. You know, as I grew up and experienced the physiotherapy, particularly the counseling and psychological therapy, I realized that there had to be a better way. That it just didn't resonate with me. And one of the things that occurred to me when I was probably about 12 or 13, I suppose, was that it seemed to me that I saw myself as this person in what I subsequently learned to be my conscious mind. And I could see that I wanted to behave in a certain way or saw myself in a certain way. But when it came down to it, I behaved like an idiot. Why was that? You know, why did I see myself as this person and behaving in a certain way when it came down to it, I behaved like a fool. And so the more I looked around and the more I observed my friends and family, the more I realized that actually they also experienced a similar phenomenon. They talked about themselves in a way that they didn't actually behave in some respects. You know, so I figured if I could study them enough to understand why it was they experienced the phenomenon, then perhaps I could apply what I learned to myself and to change myself to be a better person, which is what I wanted to be. So yeah, I studied human psychology from first principles, from the ground up, from about the age of 14. I was introduced to quantum physics during my first degree, which was so important, really helped me to more fundamentally understand energy and understand the science behind what I was thinking and what I was experiencing, what I was developing. At about, I think it was that this is me at about the age of 21, I think. And it was about the time that I worked out how binary code is fundamental to a fundamental function of the brain, and particularly in decision making, as I alluded to before. So I completed my doctorate in energy-based physical sciences in 2001. And I think, you know, the reason I went down that path was, if nothing else, to prove to myself that I wasn't actually stupid. And I think I made that point at that point. You know. So I completed my I co-founded a company who produced supercapacitors in 2014. At the same time, I became a Reiki master teacher, having started studying from 2017 in 2020. And I got out of the wheelchair several times. So I captured everything I learned in a book which I originally wrote for my children, which I'll talk. And I started writing that in 2017. So I'll talk a bit about that. So let's get straight into the causes. What causes anxiety and blockages? Well, the way I often describe this is I deal with the difference between the conscious and the subconscious, and there are other segments of your mind, like the unconscious, for example, but I like to keep it simple and deal with just the conscious and the subconscious. And the major differences are the conscious is only utilized sort of between 1% and 10% of the time, but most importantly, it functions in the present, in the now, and it's sensory. So it takes its inputs from sight, smell, taste, touch. It's able to see what is going on around you. The conscious, though, has no way of understanding how to respond or how to behave as a result of the inputs that it sees in the present. So when your conscious sees something or hears something or has a thought in the present, it will immediately default to ask for information from your subconscious. Now, your subconscious operates entirely in the past. It's completely blind to the current situation and has no idea what's going on. And although often when your conscious requests information from your subconscious, it can be a very positive thing. But what we're dealing with is where the blockages are, where the where the negative side of your memory comes from. So, in essence, your conscious by default will consult your subconscious for information on how to perceive a situation. And by default, your subconscious will provide the most traumatic memory to protect you from an environment that has inevitably changed. And the reason your subconscious does that is very understandable at an early age, such as when you're a baby, fire burns, mother shouts, it's absolutely invaluable to you at a very early age in order to teach you things. However, the memories remain. And as you grow older and as you learn from whatever it was, the memories become redundant. And these are the memories that are causing your blockages, causing your anxieties, causing your fears, causing anything that is abstract to what is actually going on in the present moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
No, thank you. I want to make sure I've explained that properly. Yeah, so this is really what I explain as being a fundamental flaw in human psychology, because as I said, you learn things which are extremely valuable to you as you grow up, but the memory and the negative trauma associated with it remains, and it's redundant. These are what we're going to be removing. So it all starts in the womb, as I've kind of alluded to already. Throughout your life, you experience various different brainwave states, and in adult life, you can experience any of these at any time. But at certain periods in your life, you are experiencing one predominant brainwave state. And the most significant really is delta brainwave state. So this is even from when you're in the womb, you are absorbing information. So in delta brainwave state, you're absorbing information at a phenomenal rate. And this is the period when your predominant core belief structure is formed. So anything that happens in and around your environment when between the ages of being in the womb and 2 years old, then is imprinted or blueprinted into your core belief structure, so that you absorb anything that's negative, like anything that's negative that's happened in your environment, to your parents or carers. But I mean, conversely, anything that's positive as well. So we're not just talking about negative things. So this, for example, is why parents are often encouraged to read to the child while the mother is pregnant with the child, for example, because this can then also implant very positive core belief structure. Excuse me. So this is practiced a lot in, for example, indigenous tribes. They will actually engage with the child in a very positive sense from the womb and all the way through the year till 2 years old. Excuse me. So yeah, from about the age of 2, you go into what is predominantly theta brainwave state. Now, this is again a very powerful brainwave state, and you're still absorbing information, but not quite at the same rate as you were when you're in delta brainwave state. From about 5 to 10 years old, you go into what is alpha brainwave state. So again, you're still absorbing information, but again, not quite as the same rate as when you're in theta, and particularly when you're in delta. Now, from the age of about 10, although your brain is still developing till the age of about 21, you go into predominantly beta brainwave state, and that's what you will experience for most of the rest of your life, unless until you practice meditation or deliberately, consciously get into any of the other brainwave states. So that's it. You're locked down. From that age onwards, your core belief structure and the way you respond and behave to anything, which can be as simple as the fear of spiders, or a fear of public speaking, or a fear of heights, or anything like that. Excuse me, does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So where's it useful then? I'm just going to briefly go through where you experience some of these brainwave states in normal everyday adulthood. So at the top, we talked about beta. Beta is normal everyday brainwave state. Alpha is associated with meditation, daydreaming. Also, I understand Reiki energy healing is performed in alpha brainwave state. Theta again is a very healing brainwave state to be in. Thought to be associated with random eye movement, sleep, extreme relaxation, certainly visualizations through meditation. And delta is probably one of the most powerful that is more easily accessible to us. Delta is essentially when you're just about falling to sleep, Please excuse me. I hope that wasn't too loud, but I can talk better now. Yes, delta is a very powerful brainwave state to be in, and it's essentially the brainwave state that you will be able to learn fundamental things like who you are, why you're here, what your purpose is, what you're expecting to do, or even just simple questions, answers to everyday questions. And it's usually, although you do experience it naturally during sleep times, you can also access it through dedicated meditation and plant medicines, for example. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk briefly about what inspired me to write my book, and what inspired me in part to do the work that I've done. And it's this little guy here. This is Alex, my youngest son. This is William, his older brother. And there's two primary reasons why I was inspired to do what I did. And the first reason is that when this little guy was between the age of 1 and 2, I behaved very badly, and I was going through bankruptcy. I was an alcoholic. I was not in a good place, but I have no excuses at all. I have no excuses. There was no excuse. It was over in an instant. But I knew that the anger I displayed to Alex when he upset me through no fault of his own, even though it was over in a minute, I was already learning about all of this, and I knew that I had possibly done some long-term damage to his psychology through shouting at him till the spittle came out of my mouth. And I knew that I couldn't go back and change what was done. I knew that no matter of apologizing or trying to make up for it would actually change the memory that I would have created in his mind. I knew that, and I knew that the only thing I could do was to make better for the future. And that was probably one of the most powerful driving forces for me to learn what I learned. Why I wrote my book was also heavily associated with Alex. His mother and I, some 10 years later, attended a so-called ADHD workshop, and I was so impressed with the sort of double PhD child psychologist who was running it, because one of the first things she said was that if you want to understand your child, if you want to harmonize the relationship that you have with your child and help your child to behave better, then you must first look at yourself. You must first look at your own behavior and your own psychology. And I was just like, that is fresh. I love that. It was amazing. And I was on fire from that moment on. And sort of a short way into the, I think about a day into the 3-day session, she said to me, "John, you're going to have to shut up." And I was like, I know, sorry. And she said, but I want you to write a book. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. So yeah, that's in a nutshell, if you can call it a nutshell, that's the reason I did what I did. And that's certainly the reason I wrote my book. And I'm so grateful, so grateful. Yeah, so we just finished this section with something I realized, and what I realized is that stress, probably by far one of the biggest killers in life, but you have a choice. Easy to say, I know, but you have a choice, and so you can choose to get angry or not. You can choose to get stressed out. You can choose to let things upset you or not. But also, you can choose to use techniques to combat stressful and negative thoughts that cause that behavior. So, what are the solutions? So, how do you begin to choose clarity and peace over stress and anxiety? So, first of all, what I did was I became aware of my thoughts in real time. It's almost like taking a step outside of yourself and looking at your thoughts, looking at how you deal with things. A lot of plant medicines can help you with this, but you can do it without. You can do it, and to become aware of the usually redundant negative thoughts that you have. And again, you can feel whether a thought is negative or positive simply by the way it makes you feel. And as I've said, I think before, most negative thoughts are usually redundant and no longer serve you, and you're more than safe to remove them. And by doing that, you then essentially decluttering your thought process. You're opening yourself up to far better clarity, far better decision making, because you're no longer confuddled by all of the nonsense that's going on in your brain. Now, this can be quite challenging, and as Elliot said earlier, there's no magic bullet usually, and this takes time. But I can assure you, the more you become aware of your thoughts and the negative connotations which are safe to remove, and the more you practice what we're about to learn, the easier it becomes, and the more quickly and succinctly you can perform these exercises. So as we said, the human psyche defaults to the most negative memory as a tool for protecting us from danger that usually no longer exists. Also, society programs us to be negative. It doesn't mean to, but it fills us with fear, hatred, prejudice, anger, none of which are conducive to a healthy or happy life or a positively functioning mind. And we can remove all of that just by using these simple techniques. Also, particularly in the West, we tend to be raised in an unconsciously negative environment, which is through no fault with your parents or carers. It's just the environment that they've been raised in, that we've all been raised in. And as we mentioned, even as you're in the womb, you can experience traumas very early in life, which cause the blockages, fears, and anxieties. And it takes time to work on and fully clear these, because we create layer upon layer, as I'll explain next. So how does it work? How do you change your thought process? Well, so looking at this diagram, first of all, there's the trigger, the input in your conscious, which is in the present. It's visual, it's sensory. The trigger comes in, creates a thought. So as I explained before, the conscious will then default to ask the subconscious how to behave, how to respond, what you believe about this particular thought. Now, I'm only dealing with the negative here. Many times you'll actually get a positive response, but we're not worried about that. We're just going to be dealing with the negative side of things. Okay, so Your subconscious, which is blind and operates in the past, has no idea what's going on in the environment up here. As I said, will by default provide the most traumatic memory surrounding the thought that has been supplied by the conscious. Now that thought will then trigger a feeling or emotion, and in this case, you'll be able to feel that it's a negative thought. You'll be able to sense it. You know it is, and it is at this point where you can begin to remove the unnecessary thoughts, and to remove the unnecessary negative memories associated with that. So in doing so, or I tell you what, if you don't do that, then the interpretation is with negative bias, the negative thoughts not removed, and you demonstrate negative behavior. And usually, like I explained when we first started, it'll be absolutely perplexing to you. Why did I behave like that? Why did I react like that? I mean, at the same time, the thought itself will create a secondary thought, and that'll go back round the cycle. So request for information from the subconscious surrounding the secondary thought, and you'll go back round the cycle. And if you don't remove the negative there, then you'll build layer upon layer of secondary thoughts, which you'll then subsequently need to remove in the future. So, but this is normal. This is human psychology. People have these layers and layers of negative thoughts, which is why it can seem like it's a never-ending quest sometimes when you're dealing with something that's fundamentally challenging you, such as a fear of public speaking. That's a deep trauma, which probably has layer upon layer of negative thoughts surrounding it. However, if we go back to removing this negative thought here, then your interpretation with clarity, and you display that positive behavior that you so desire. Does all that make sense? Right, okay, so just can everybody see that? Can you read that properly? Everybody's muted themselves. Do you all have dogs and builders in the background?
Yes.
Really? Yeah, I had before. I'm glad I don't now. Right, okay, so if you can see that. So essentially, here we go. Here's the trigger. For example, you've had an argument with your partner or friend. The thought is, I'm sad, confused, and angry. The request for information goes out to the subconscious. The memory is the most traumatic memory associated with it, and the interpretation is with negative bias. You haven't removed the negative thought or the negative association with the thought. The behavior is negative. The further layers could be something like, what if they hate me now? Well, that goes back into the box, back down here, back down here. What if they never understand me? Again, all the way around. What if I've made a mistake? What if they're using me? What if they're lying to me? What if they've gossiped with their friends about me and said some things that I'm not happy with? Or that maybe they even lied about me? What if they found someone else? What if I can't go on? Or what if we can't go on? Sorry, I didn't mean to be so melodramatic. What if we can't go on? what if I lose the relationship? You know, so that's kind of an idea of the layer upon layer that you build, and when you allow yourself to embellish the negatives surrounding whatever they are, you're then not allowing yourself the ability to ignore what's merely speculation. You're essentially creating ideas or thoughts of creating a situation for yourself that hasn't yet transpired and probably never would if you didn't forward project all of those thoughts. So does that make sense? At least I got a thumbs up because you've all turned your mics off. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I love this quote by the dude with the purple robe on. He's feeding a goose, I think. When you can't control what's happening, change yourself to control the way you respond to what's happening. That's where your power is. So, okay. As I said, I'm going to take you through 3 different methods for removing negative. And the first one is to hold the thought in your mind, but not to engage with it, not to don't allow it to evoke further negative thoughts. If anything comes up, just try to ignore it. If while you're doing that, you then consciously acknowledge it, accept it, and allow it. And what you'll find is that while you're doing that, it should simply dissipate. It should disappear. Now, I think I described this in my book to my boys in so much as, you know, Will, when Alex is pestering you and bothering you, and you just ignore him, he goes away, right? You know. So that's kind of a similar thing. When you acknowledge it, you accept it, and allow it to pass, allow it to dissipate. So that's the first process. The second one I really like, and it's very, very simple, and it's essentially by repeating in your mind the very powerful words, "I love you." So I use this when I need a quick fix. Like, for example, if I think I might have got caught speeding, then I remove the thought and the thought of the ramifications in my mind by simply repeating to myself, "I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you." And as you do that, the energy of vibration of the frequency of the words itself just allows the negative to dissipate, and you can think about things far more clearly. So the third one I really love. This is I've taken this from Joe Vitale, and he's called it the "what if up" technique. So when you have a thought, I mean, this is for sort of very much for day-to-day stuff, and perhaps you're planning a party or an event outside, and it's the day before, and you're looking into the sky, and you think to yourself, "Oh, crap, what if it rains tomorrow?" Well, this technique suggests that instead of thinking, "What if it rains?" think, "What if it's sunny? What if it's a beautiful day? What if, whatever the weather happens, I have a brilliant time and all my friends are happy?" You know, so this one not only mitigates the negative, but it also provides a forward affirmation for the positive. Did that all make sense?
Yes, it does. I think actually, John, that I would rather change the weather than just hope.
I have a friend who can do that. He's called Harry Rhodes, and he has weather modification technology, which puts our weather back to the way it should be.
Hmm. You can do that with your mind as well.
Oh yes, yes. Oh, and you're doing that.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I've heard. Yeah,
So what I'm
absolutely.
saying is you don't hope is only a stage towards knowing.
Mm,
So we need to change things. We need to imagine what we want it to be, change the timeline and make it so. Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you, Colin.
Mm.
If we've got time at the end, you can do a little class too as well. Right, okay. So we are gonna test these techniques out. So yeah, take a look at the list that you may. I mean, I imagine you probably already started doing it already. So um if you choose one of the methods that we've discussed, maybe the one that resonates with you the most, maybe the one that fits better with the whatever trigger it is that you're thinking about. And then if you consciously evoke that trigger and feel that negative emotion that it produces, and then zap it with one of those techniques, and you'll be amazed how powerful they are. Do you want to turn your mics back on? We can deal with dogs and builders and stuff. It's all good.
Sure.
My dog's been going crazy. He obviously likes your voice.
I love dogs. I get on with dogs, but so how Elliot, tell me, how did that? Because Elliot's has actually been a guest uh on my course and has been through a lot of this. So you've already done a lot of this, haven't you?
Yeah, so I must admit, when I first see some of these things that are quite simple, I think really, aren't they, at face value? I think, well, how
Yeah.
can that probably help? And probably thinking it doesn't help. But actually, so I don't know why, but every morning I wake up with anxiety and it's really annoying. And I've been trying really this just allowing and accepting, and it really helps because I think I have a tendency generally to analyze and try and work things out. So I'll think, why am I feeling this? Is it this? Is it that? Is it that? And before I know it, I've listed 20 things that will really stress me. And then I'm really stressed about them all.
That's
And
building
I'm
the
delving
layers,
into
yeah.
all of those things and working them out. And it just amplifies it. So just to thinking, you're back. I've started talking to it now. Just sort of, hello, anxiety. There you are. It's fine. Sit there. That's all right. I'm just going to crack on with my day. And it just goes
That's
after,
beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's annoying that it comes back, but I don't know what goes on with my mind at night. But so yeah, I really like that. I like the others. I've used them less, I think. So yeah, it's a good one for me.
Well, they're fantastic. Thank you, Elliot. Really appreciate that. And yeah, some things are buried deeper than others. You know, when I first developed a more advanced technique that I teach in my book and course, it took me 2 weeks to uncover what it was, and I was at points thinking, is this ever going to end? I could feel it was doing something, but I was like, is this ever going to end? Somebody's writing on my board. Sorry, I was a bit distracted then. I think Lisa's writing on my board. But anyway, yeah. So it took 2 weeks, but when I finally peeled the layers of the onion away and got to the core and addressed the core, oh my goodness, the sun came out. It was a beautiful day. I was, and this was a big thing. This was a relationship thing, you know. So yeah, I can only suggest that from my experience, the more you work with it, the more you become aware of yourself, the more you um, take those strides, the easier it becomes. And you know, one day you get there and you know you've got there. You know, it's quite incredible.
I think it's the entrainment, really, isn't it? It's the. I mean, to be honest, this isn't necessarily new to me, but and I do try and use these techniques. And oddly enough, I'm very good at helping other people.
Yes.
When someone was saying, "Well, I hope it's not going to rain," I go, "Well, actually, it could be sunny, you know." And but then it's actually sometimes the problem is myself. It's like we got into these automated processes, and you will have to try and catch yourself before you fall into that place. So it's like that entrainment of our minds, so that we don't fall into that straight away. As Elliot was saying earlier on, you know, wake up with anxiety before you actually start. So it's like it's already there and knocking on the door. So I think that is the thing for me. It's just it's catching yourself quickly enough in and retraining that process so that you automatically go to a solution rather than the problem.
Terry, you absolutely hit the nail on the head. You know, this point, the point of when you realize the trigger has caused the negative, which you're talking about, and being able to address it in real time there and then, that's the challenge. And it is challenging, but once you train yourself and begin to get yourself in, you know, you practice and experience it, it gets easier and easier. But even now, I catch myself thinking, missed that, damn, you know. I mean, it's not bulletproof, but it gets easier and easier and easier. So thank you, Terry. Yeah, really, totally agree.
I think it's also a matter of knowing who you are and the fact that you are okay anyway.
Yes.
It's because we've been conditioned for so many thousands of years, and particularly over the last few hundred years or couple of hundred years, we think we're always in the wrong. Most of us were brought up in some form of religion, and in Christianity, we're told we're sinners. I mean, for goodness sake.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's all rotten from the core. And we ought to just know, even if we don't feel it, that we are okay. And then start going through your process to connect with upstairs, connect with nature. And then you start to feel better. And gradually the feelings of I'm inadequate or I don't know what I'm going to do today because I'm fearful of this or I'm anxious of that, they go away eventually. Yeah. Again, it's a matter of going from, it's a matter of going from wondering to hoping to knowing. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think, you know, you hit the nail on the head as well with the fears and anxieties that are superimposed onto us by society, by everything that's going on, by religion, by everything that's trying to keep us down, you know. And I think what I do a lot in my course itself is to address all of those issues, all of the issues that we have the freedom and power to change. Once we understand what the gameplay is, then we can begin to do all of the good stuff you just suggested, in order to ultimately realize who we are and why we came here, what we're here for.
Very important.
So have we got as I guess we've lost Janine.
I'm
And
here. You just can't see me.
oh, good. How you doing? Was that useful for you? I'd be really interested to know.
Yeah, I was a bit late there, so I didn't have a list of things that cause me anxiety, but there are quite a few bits, and the one that came to mind, I sat with, and it's what you've described here is something similar to what I would just call presence. If I stay present with the feeling
Yep,
and not buy into the story that my
yep,
thoughts are giving me,
yep,
then the feeling begins to subside and the thoughts go quiet,
yep.
and my whole presence and awareness of the situation begins to change.
That is
So,
exactly it, Janine. Yep.
yeah, that's what I took from what you were saying, and I just basically sat with that for a moment.
Awesome.
I
Thank
think
you.
you've just described staying in the now, haven't you, Janine?
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's another way of describing it, I suppose. Yeah.
I want when you start looking backwards, you get regret, or you may get regret. If there's a sort of negative feeling about, you'll hit regret, and if you look forward, you'll get anxiety or fear. But when you're in the moment, it all goes away,
Yeah.
doesn't it? As you've said.
Yeah.
What what I
Living.
what I tend to remind myself is that we the matter of this is much slower than the matter of consciousness, if consciousness has a matter. And
Yeah.
if I allow myself to be as fast as I really am, which is so fast, the emotions move so quickly that they don't actually stay, and therefore there's nothing to hold on to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely, Janine. I mean, much of what I'm doing is taking stuff that's already been known about for a long time and
Mm.
just packaging it. I mean, I don't take responsibility for a lot of the techniques that I use. They've been known and used for a very long time. But I mean, I think as Elliot said, it's almost quite unbelievable that they're so powerful. You really wouldn't expect them to be as powerful as we can demonstrate that they are.
I do kind of think that there is an aspect of time as well involved in this, because both hearing what Colin and Janine both said, giving yourself that time, sometimes in connections, especially if they're in person, it's very difficult to have enough time to allow the process of things to dissipate, especially when you're in either a conflict with someone or you're in conversation with someone or whatever. And we do live in a very fast society where everything is kind of expected, responses are expected to occur quite quickly. So holding enough time and space to be able to go, hang
Yeah,
on, hang on, hang
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, Terry. You hit the nail on the head. Everyone's brilliant tonight. I mean, that is one of the key things I've had to deal with in my life, is because I haven't thought before I've spoken. And I think a lot of people experience that, but I was really bad. I used to fire off like a Gatling gun, and then I'd think, oh, why did I say that? Oh no, if only I'd have thought, about what I was saying. And so this is absolutely what I address in my course, is how to get to the point whereby your thought is harmonic enough that you give yourself enough time to make decisions more succinctly and more quickly, so that you don't end up thinking, why did I say that? Or, if only I'd have said that. And I think, but again, as you said, it is challenging. There is no magic bullet. It's really just through having the tools and putting in the time and effort to practice. And one of the things I'll always say is not to beat yourself up for anything. Don't ever. I mean, I always say to my clients, and don't beat yourself up. As long as you learn from the experience and you have the desire to improve, then you're on your path. It's going to happen. You're muted, Terry.
Yes, yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I fully get that entirely. That is our challenge. I think, especially over the last maybe 2 or 3 years, 3 or 4 years, I've been getting better at it. But as quickly as you think you're better at it, then the challenge pops itself up as if to say, okay, you ready then? And here's the challenge. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shoot, I've got
Yeah,
I've tripped over again. So
I
but
can
I am grateful of the awareness, I suppose. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm grateful of the awareness. That's the key for me.
No, I interrupted you, but so thank you. And I was just going to say, every time I believe I've reached the plateau of the particular mountain I'm climbing, another mountain appears, and I'm like, oh, blooming heck, here we go. But that it's all part of the learning process and what we're here to learn and where we're destined to move towards. So it's been a really beneficial and experience, and I'm so grateful. Does anyone else have? I need to do the sales pitch now. So does anyone else have anything they want to share? I don't think so. Wow, I can do the sales pitch now. Right. So, yeah, this is my book. I've originally called it Things I Wish I'd Known at Your Age. And what I love about it is that I've written it for my books, for my boys, to my boys. So I've written it in a way that isn't dictating anything to anyone, just explaining my experience and what I learned. And it covers everything. The Quantum Mind Mastery Method is a course that I put together based on the foundations of the book. It's a 6-week journey of self-discovery and realignment. Now it's sort of dressed up as a 6-week course, but that's really just to structure the amount of videos available. So there's 5 relatively short videos per week, or 5 to 15 minutes each, including suggested sort of exercises and what to do, and also some guided meditations, and all sorts of stuff that goes with it. I really recommend anyone to do it at their own pace, because many people are at different levels of their spiritual development. So it could be that some section you'll complete pretty quickly, but you'll need longer to achieve another section. So I wouldn't label too hardly on the length or duration of the course itself. It's really using the foundational simple mind techniques that we've just discussed, but looking at a lot of more advanced methods that I've developed and used over the past sort of 10 years. It addresses blockages, emotional response control, anger management, relationships, that's a big one. Monkey hunt. No, I called it monkey hunt. I meant monkey mind. Get rid of the monkey mind. Decision making. Again, couldn't embellish how important that actually is. And using your gut or heart brain for making decisions rather than the logical nonsense that comes from up here. It looks at manifestation, looks at reconnecting with who you really are. what you came here for, if you have a purpose or not. If you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, procrastination, sleeping issues, I solved one of my sleeping challenges overnight by removing the negative in my mind, removing the monkey mind before I went to sleep. It was just amazing. I haven't suffered a sleepless night as a result of anxiety for 5-10 years. I can't remember how long. Can't sleep for other reasons, but it's not that. And at the end of it, if you allow me, you'll become certifiably unfuckwithable. It's a word in the dictionary. I can assure you. I was looking for a synonym that I could use other than that, and I couldn't find anything. So that was it. So yeah, this is the course, or just some screenshots of the course. Included are all of the transcripts of the videos, and also audio copies of the meditations, copies of the slides. The cost, entry level, bronze level is £197 per month. The fixed fee is just under 1,000. The reason I've got two levels there is twofold. One, because it may be that's a more affordable, the monthly subscription is a more affordable deal, but also so that anyone who's completely convinced that they, this is it, that's what they're going to do, they can get a cheaper deal in the fixed fee. But if anybody's really not sure, and I get that, if they're really not sure whether it's for them, then the monthly subscription gives them a sort of guarantee that they can leave at any point they want. So the bronze level's just access to the course until completed or subscription cancelled. Access to videos, guided meditations, audios, course notes. Silver level includes email or instant message support. So I guarantee that I'll get back to you within 72 hours, except during holiday periods, which will be made clear via communication. And the gold level, which is the one I prefer, not just because it's the biggest ticket value, but because I love working one-to-one with people, is so access to all of that and a complimentary signed copy of my book, and 1 hour meetings per week on an ongoing basis for the monthly subscription, and 6 sessions for the fixed fee. I think, thank you. I've left a few links there. The top link is my book page, if you're interested. Silent Koala is my business. The Quantum Mind Mastery Method. This is the sign up page, and these are the introduction for business leaders and introduction for everyone. In the business leaders one, I sort of embellished the most significant portions of it that are relative to being in leadership, and the one for everyone is just everything. But it's all pertinent to anyone who's wanting to progress, who's wanting to understand themselves and life better, and how to get the best from life, how to create a more positive reality for themselves. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Yeah.
Well, no, I appreciate it. I'm grateful for your support. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I hope it goes well for you. When are you starting your courses?
I launched recently. I've created 15 of the videos, and Elliot very kindly agreed to help me out by providing some feedback. So Elliot was one of my first clients, and he's been providing some very valuable feedback from the courses. So that's a beautiful dog. Look, oh my goodness, look at its eyes. Oh my, wow. Beautiful.
We've got neighbours who are doing some building work, and he's backwards and forwards because he can hear what's going on. So he's been oofing a bit, which is why I had to keep muted.
Yeah, no, well, what a gorgeous dog. Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I launched the course about well, it was up and running about how long ago? How long has it been, Elliot? I've moved platform as well, haven't I?
Yeah, I can't even remember. I guess started on the first one kind of July, mid end of July, and then
Is
we
it
changed
that
the
long
platform.
ago? Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
and changed the platform not that long ago, which I guess is the bit you launched.
Yeah. So that was the official launch when I changed the platform. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so wow. Does anyone have any more questions, or do you want to go and party for the weekend?
Party stroke sleep, probably.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's
know the
true.
feeling.
Dinner time, actually.
Yeah.
Get some food.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. This has been most
Yeah.
instructive. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Yeah, really
Thank you,
appreciate
John.
that, John.
Yeah.
Good to see everybody.
Go well, everyone. Yeah.
Good luck with all the courses.
No, thank you so much. And do we still have Alicia and Lisa?
Yeah. If you come off your screen share, I think you'll see them. There's
Yeah, sorry, I should have done that. Yeah. So awesome. Thank you guys for your support. And yeah, everybody have a great weekend, and sending
Thank you.
lots of love and tremendous positive energy to you all.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Lovely
John.
to see you all.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye to you all.
Bye.
I thought I'd hang around for a second.
Yeah, thank you. I was about to close the window, and I thought actually, yeah, you might hang around. So thank you.
Sorry, I have to apologize. I saw that thing on my screen to draw, and I thought, oh, okay. I didn't know if it was drawing. I
Oh,
thought
that
it
was so funny.
draw.
That
I
was
thought it
so
was
funny. I was
drawing
like,
on
what
mine.
the fuck's going on my screen? Somebody's underlining. I'm like, what the? And I'm in the.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh, this is cool, and I didn't know it was drawing on everyone's screen. Why would it allow me to draw on your screen? But, it did, so I
Yeah,
apologize.
no, that's so funny. Very funny. Yeah, it's I can relate to that. We have where I go for chiropractic and sports physiotherapy, they have a music sound system which is controlled by Alexa, and I'm always changing the music to Pantera, Cowboys from Hell and stuff. It's very funny. I just change it, and it changes the whole center. I'm like, Alexa, play Black Sabbath. And it does. And I'm like, no, quick, go back to what you were doing before.
Yeah, that would make a whole different environment, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's a relaxation place. But yeah, so what do you think? Thank you so much for supporting me.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I didn't really understand what you put together, so it was, to see the whole thing and how you're presenting it. Yeah, it's much easier to refer people to you, when you've got that background and understand how you've built it up and explaining how, the subconscious and conscious mind works, and not making it too complicated, actually. You're giving enough, I think, well, you'll grow with it as you present it, but you're people like Colin was saying, people don't understand they have choice, first of all, because they've been brainwashed. You have to tell people you've been brainwashed. You understand you've been brainwashed, let alone what happened to you at birth or whatever. You've just been brainwashed. So you're giving them their power back to have this dialogue with themselves, and they didn't even know they could do that. And it's really, that's what's, people that haven't stepped into that arena, it's absolutely liberating, and it's almost disorientating, because they don't realize that they have that ability. They have choice. Guess what? You have choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the way you tiptoed in there, but gave enough structure to it, so that, I mean, you have to, if you're going to sell it, you have to build that platform up, and then they'll start to get to know themselves, basically.
Yeah.
It's an introduction to yourself. Guess what?
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to, when you work with the first few people, how it proceeds. How you proceed with them when you start getting the feedback and having the one-on-one type conversations with them. I mean, that's when you're really going to start to get the.
Yeah. I did with Elliot for the first sort of month. And he gave me some amazing feedback, and that's what inspired me to get on with the second half of the courses. With that information, I've also have a couple of other people who've done that as well, that I gave free access to, for testimonial, referral, and feedback and stuff. So I have had some really good stuff. And I'm pretty, I've got the next sort of 3 or 4 videos lined up out of the remaining 15.
What age group usually? You notice this is a particular age group?
It's not really. I mean, it's more really who I prefer to work with. I mean, I love working with teenagers. Love it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's so cool. And so, I mean, for me, the beauty is it's for everyone. It's for anyone and everyone who is on their path, who wants to know, who resonates with it. It's not for everyone, but it's, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm not going to try and sell this to someone it's not going to be of value to.
Well, what's good about it is it's not so airy-fairy metaphysical that they can't get in there. It's a nice stepping place for somebody that hasn't actually started anything spiritually, or just that kind of inner work. It's quite gentle and very rewarding. So I think, when you see what's out there on the market, I think the way you can place it is exactly that way. It's like getting stage, of this experience you are.
It is more entry level. So it's geared towards people who are on the cusp or have a little bit of spiritual experience. It's not for somebody at your level, of course, but it's not for somebody who's, already in touch with themselves, or or able to regulate their thoughts and emotions and behaviors and stuff. It's really entry level, and it starts with meditation. So it starts with just basic meditation and basically saying, look, here's what to do, go and do it. Okay, here's a guided meditation, use that. And then, well, here's an even better guided meditation,
Yeah, I think that feels like your market.
Yeah.
The ones that haven't gone into that area, not the ones that are
Already a lot further down
been
the
in
line.
there for years now.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think again that is young people, isn't it? And that's where I want to be anyway.
Yeah, and I think it's because what you're getting right now is there's people that realize that something is going on
Yeah,
in the world,
yeah,
and where do they start at, and
yeah,
how do they approach this? So I think the way if you tailor it in that area too, where this is something that's not daunting, it's not so kind of spooky like, they can actually come into that area and start because there's people out there that are scared, and then there's the
yeah,
other batch that are there that just say, oh well,
yeah, whatever.
whatever. It's very, I think it's fascinating. I just, I think this is so fascinating how um, because you can sense it on different, you're picking, because that's how we work, is that way. So you're already picking it up before it actually manifests, and then you can actually feel it in the atmosphere that it's crackling, and you go, ooh, now it's getting sizzly, and then you
Yeah,
get stuff, bam, 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 and then you go, and then it gets really quiet.
yeah,
See people getting frightened, then you see people getting completely um, uh, complicit almost, and it's really fascinating. And there's also, I think, a lot of people just saying, I'm going to do it my way,
yeah,
whatever that way is. I'm doing it my way, and and they're getting on with life, and they're getting on with making changes or whatever they need to do. So it's a real shuffling the deck. And getting our
yeah,
power back and doing it, becoming, sovereign in that way is
I
being.
think it's like Elliot was a real asset to have it in the webinar.
yeah. I was grateful to him.
And I kind of think he might be the ideal kind of client. I think Alicia has a good point about well, the way I would see it is your course would be really beneficial that for young people that are aware that things aren't as they are, is what we're presented. And they're ready to, look at something new, something that could change them for the positive. And especially young, college students or whatever that are starting on their path to what they want to do in life. And whoa, what changes and what positive things could they do, with that kind of training, to begin with, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that's like even it could fit into a college course.
yeah.
You could see approach colleges and see if they would
That's what
want
I was thinking too.
put into their curriculum where because they have online classes. A lot of stuff is a lot of stuff is offered as online classes.
I'm gonna write that down.
Because what you're seeing now, these big podcast things where, I mean, I can't remember their names, but there's two Brits, that they interview the big guys, Jordan Peterson and all, but what they're asking the question is about, males and their place in, this community, because it's been engineered to create the split. And also they don't have losing identity. So when you put a course like what Lisa's saying in that arena, it's not daunting, but it's allowing them to take those steps of reflection, because it's not allowed.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to ask any questions. You're just supposed to do what you're told.
Yeah.
So where's the debate? Where's the discussion? Where's that growth that goes on? I mean, I've got this girl that I've worked for since she's 20 years old, and she's now turned 23.
Wow.
And that's been a really fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, I said we're both learning on this one. This is cool. Because there isn't anything, and they're so trapped, and they have to do what everybody else is doing. And I just think that's, like Lisa said, I think that's a really good place, is to go into that.
What your parents are saying,
Yeah.
It matters until you get about maybe 18, then you want to start moving away from what your parents are wanting you to do, because you have your own, you're an adult, you have, developed far enough where you can start to make your own decisions.
But they don't even have it in school anymore. We had debate in high school and in grammar school, debate.
Yeah, Angela did.
So they're telling you that, I even have a discussion, and they said, well, why would you say that? I said, well, you don't have to own it. Again, it's a brainwash. It says, don't you see what it is? You don't take on what I say. I have the right to say this.
Yeah.
You have the right to go, oh, that's fine. That's her opinion. I said, what happened to opinion?
Yeah.
What happened to debate?
Yeah.
Well, that was all part of the agenda, because then you don't say anything. You just do what you're told. Yeah.
Especially targeting intellectuals and academics. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
don't have creativity because it gets smashed to smithereens, because you're not supposed to have a different thought. Where would that take you? That's why they went after California big time.
Yeah. Silicon Valley.
You can't have innovation or creativity.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's a really good spot to explore. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks. I mean, to be honest, a lot of my work that I haven't gone looking for has been with young people. And it's like at the moment.
Have your sons seen it? Have they both seen it?
No, they're not
You
interested.
gotta show that to them.
They haven't even read my book.
Oh.
But I will show them when they're ready. But I mean, at the moment, I'm working with two guys who are sort of recent graduates, in terms of life coaching and career coaching and stuff. And I've often been approached by parents to work with their children, the teenagers. And I'm like, I don't have any qualifications or insurance or anything. And they're like, we don't care. We want you to do it. I'm like, okay.
Well, you've been a parent.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, no, I think so. Yeah.
So I wasn't quite sure. If I were you, I would have a link to provide in, because the links that you have on your presentation aren't clickable for everyone. You knew that, right? So
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
you would want to include a link in the chat or somewhere, or like follow up.
Oh yeah, of course. I should have just copy pasted.
To put
Yeah,
a,
thank you,
like
Lisa.
a sign up sheet, or like a
Yeah,
link that where you could, they could, if they wanted to do something, because it left them with no way of really, unless they had a
no,
recording.
you're absolutely right. This is so typical of me. I go blah, and then I fuck off before I've sold anything, and yeah. So yeah, thank you. What I could have done is what I could do is no, thank you. What I will do is I'll send a follow up email with all of the information in and all of the links. And if nothing else, so that they can then refer me to anyone they think who might be able to use it. But thank you. I'm going to make a note of that so I don't forget.
And I think you should say something on there. This is for, young and old. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think any age, because I'm still working on that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
I know that, like, so when negative thoughts come up, I recognize it, and I'm just learning that myself, and learning that, okay, those thoughts are coming from my past, my beliefs, and that of my, what just happened in the past. And I don't need to let that, control me.
Absolutely.
And one thing that does trigger me though is insults from people that,
I know.
and
Yeah.
false accusations
Yeah.
from people. That's so if I can get past that, and I had to deal with trying to get over that kind of thing for maybe a week. This was recent.
Lisa, I can completely and utterly relate to that, because it used to make me so angry if somebody said something, that wasn't true.
Yeah, my reaction isn't anger, but it is emotion.
Yeah.
It is an emotion, like
So
hurt.
yeah, a big part of what I teach is what my very good friend described as "who gives a fuck," and what he meant was, who cares what anybody else thinks of you? Who cares? It's their business. And I quote, I quote Anthony Hopkins. It's none of my business what anybody else thinks of me. But it's easier said than done.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, and then it's like maybe it's not. Well, I don't know if that would be what you would call what they think of me, or what it's more of what they're saying that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I guess that's thinking, but it's still, it's like.
What I find is if you apply the removal technique, then it does one of two things. One, it harmonizes your mind and it doesn't upset you. But secondly, you also reduce the propensity to attract to yourself all of the negative that's associated with the thought. So it's kind of twofold. And so if ever I think that, I mean, normally for me, it's like I've said something wrong, I've upset someone or something like that. And that used to drive me nuts. So what I now do is I just remove and forget about it. And what I find is that usually whatever it was that I was immediately concerned about doesn't transpire anyway. And I think even with when somebody's bad mouthing you, or I'm just like, remove. There's nothing you can do about it. It's the serenity prayer. But the less you think about it, the less you actually construct whatever it is to happen.
So that's that's an area that I'm working on, and I feel pretty good. I felt pretty good today, like thinking back, okay, I think I'm over that now, you know, over the what
Do you want access to the course?
I mean, I might, but it's kind of
Whateve you want. If you want it, it's yours, you know. No worries.
it might be worth, you know, I'm sure it would help, but just the time, you know, time to do
I
it.
got it. Got it
They're
completely.
short, you're saying pretty short lessons though.
But what I'm saying is it's the least I can do. If you want it, just say you got it. It's yours.
I mean, I'm kind of working on it because of how Yuki's, you know, Yuki's stuff, you know what I mean? So that's how I'm learning about it.
Yeah.
With Yuki, and I've done like all of his course, you know, the 2 courses that I got when I signed up. I've gone through all those now. So yeah, it's been a lot of work, but it's really helpful. It's been really helpful.
Good. Well, I'll send you the link to the free access. Take it or leave it. Won't be offended either way. If you want it, it's yours. Yeah.
Thank you. So
that applies to you, Alicia, but I'm not sure you'd get. Actually, Alicia, you still there? You look as if your screen's frozen.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll send you both access to the course. In fact, I'm surprised I haven't done that already. So
Yeah, but you were working on it, so
yeah. Right, I put a potato in the oven 2 hours ago, so I better.
Right. I mean, there's a good one. There's a good one to do also with you take your avatar and you place the whatever it is in the avatar.
Well, the negative, you
Or
mean?
avatar.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't, it's a program that you've got running. And that's why it hurts when those things, you know, hit you.
Yeah.
So you place it over there with the avatar and you let the avatar ask the questions. So it's not here, because here is perfect actually. But an avatar can deal, it's a very interesting thing to do, is to move it away from this, your device. Put it in your avatar.
Yeah, which I guess is kind of what the techniques I've talked about are doing. They're displacing them or removing them. But
kind of what I'm doing is like the exact opposite of that, but it is that in reverse, because I when I get upset or something's hurting me, I think of who I am as a soul and a spiritual being. And I know that what was, you know, thrown at me is not true. And so it's kind of like
making yourself bigger than the problem.
And
you ever ask where it originated from?
What, the feelings or the
the feelings.
The feelings. Yeah.
Like the first time you felt that way. Being attacked, basically, is what it is.
And attacked my whole, I don't know. It's hard to say. It would be really hard.
Lisa.
You got it. Oh, cool. Did you get the magnets inside?
Yep, that's primed. This is a tool for removing.
No, that one doesn't remove anything.
This doesn't.
No.
So why have I got
it? Find out by watching the videos.
Okay, send me the link. Send me the link. Anyway, I'm really grateful.
Go.
I'm gonna have to go now. But thank you. Sending much love and tremendous energy.
Good to see you both.
Yeah,
good to see you, Alicia.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.